Hey guys, my name is Naveri and this is the third episode of Synth Saturday. During this episode we're gonna be making an entire lead, top leads, back leads, chords, everything behind it, and we're gonna do that with Serum. So let's get going. Over here I have a melody for a bootleg that I want to do. If you know the melody, make sure to comment down below and maybe you'll see it later on. So that's the melody that we're going to be working with. Because it has slide notes again, we're going to put up the mono legato and the portamento so that it won't stumble over the notes. I think I'm going to be making a sol top lead for this. So now we got that stable tone that we want when making top leads. So just trying to find the balance between the resonance and the cutoff. That sounds nice, but these melodies, the notes just are a little bit too long. We're gonna cut them up a little bit. Annoys me when doing the sound design, so just yeah, that works. I think this sounds nice for the top lead. Then immediately I'm just gonna EQ this because I feel you just need to EQ sounds immediately because then you know what kind of space you have in the spectrum for your entire sound. So that's the first layer. And then we're going to add supporting layers to that. And for the supporting layers, we're just going to make some hypersols. Maybe later on we're going to make some more mono leads if I feel that it's needing them. So we're just going to put a hypersol in here. And I use this first oscillator to kind of set myself off in the right direction. Like if I put this all the way here, then I don't want the other oscillators to be detuned too much. I just want it to kind of revolve around that position of the first oscillator. So this is just something that's going on in my mind when I'm working on sound design for hypersols in Silent. It sounds nice, and now if we would add the other oscillator, it would just sound way too much in the mid, so I'm just putting an octave higher, and this octave higher will just kind of give the hypersol some space to breathe. Using the drive from part A and part B, you can kind of mix down inside of Silent 1 as well. If you want to have less of that higher hypersol, you can put the drive up on the part where it doesn't have a high hypersol. So that's what I kind of pay attention to. Because if we put it up, you would just hear a little bit less, a little bit clearer. And I just wanted to hear the hypersol, the higher one, a little bit better. So this is basically how I make the second layer. And it's normally the second layer that I start off with. Just to create some little bit more stereo feeling for my top lead. So you already immediately see me putting the faders where I think they should roughly be, and maybe we'll go back and do the same thing all over again, but I'm already placing it where I generally would want it to be. Oh, it sounds right. And right now we're going to make a little bit of a higher hypersol, and we're just going to use the second oscillator on each part to create a little bit more high feeling for this one. And what this high feeling is going to do is just going to create some more space for the entire lead layers that we have right now. Also, when I'm using the higher hypersols, when I try to put them in my hypersol layer, I tend to put them a little bit more detuned, because that more detuned feeling just sounds nice when you're playing high hypersols. And again, this sounds nice, but we want to make it move a little bit more, and we're just going to add an LFO on here to kind of create that effect. What I'm going to do right now is just EQ this one. And the EQ is again there to just put it basically where it needs to be. Just cut the crap from what sounds good. And now I'm just going to put the faders where I want them to be. Now this already sounds quite nice, and the thing I'm paying attention to when putting up the volume of the faders is the top lead that we originally made needs to be still in front and in the middle of it, while the hypersols are just beside of it, and just make it sound a little bit more fat. Now I do feel that I would need another type of mono lead, maybe a little bit more resonating, a little bit more MIDI without the screamy side. And might just give it a little bit more warm body for our top lead. I think this sounds solid, and maybe, not sure, but if we put this behind our top lead, I think this will actually work quite nice. That's what I had in mind, at least. I think this adds a little bit more body, but it depends on how we put it in the main mix down. We might even want to put this in a square, not sure. Oh, maybe a triangle will work. I think this will work. So what I'm doing right now in the meantime is just putting everything in the bus, and I'm missing some high frequencies, so that's what we're gonna boost in here. And nothing too special, just maybe adding an OTT, and that OTT will just create a little bit more of a snappy feeling to each note when we play it, and that's all. I think this works nice already. So let's get the chords in here, and let's get the chords behind the melody. So it took me a little while to make the chords, but after I've made the chords, now that we can actually work on this sound. And instead of using silent, I'm going to use serum for the bass layer for the chords, and I'm gonna remove the lower half of here. I'm just gonna store that in here for if you want to use it later. And what we're gonna do right now is just we're gonna easily put both of these on 16. And I think I'm gonna move this one up. Yeah, it just creates a little bit more of a wide feeling instead of the narrow version with an octave lower. I think I'm gonna let this be it. I'm of course gonna put this in a mixer channel and just EQ it. Down a little bit and make sure it fits correctly with the top lead. So this actually just created the body for the chords and just the main feeling that we want for them. And right now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get another layer over here, and we're gonna take that out of serum, and we're gonna use the oscillators in serum, or in silent, in silent to create a more warm layer. A little bit less voices, but more warmth. And also because I wanted to have the warmth, I added the extra layers of lower notes over here. And maybe to make it really stand out, we can add another type of waveform that we haven't used before. Maybe we'll stick with something that we did use, but adding some different waveforms is just gonna make it stand out a little bit more and just glue it a little bit more together. It's just a matter of using it in the right way, and don't make these new waveforms stand out too much in the mix, because if you do that, it just it's going to sound off and not as unified as you want it to. I think this sounds nice already, but what we're gonna do again is make it move a little bit, so that it just moves with the rest of the lead. And then we're just gonna change this sub up a little bit. We're gonna put it like this. Then it has less lower notes, and that will fit a little bit better when EQing it as well. And apart from the fact that we're EQing it right now, there's of course gonna be a kick underneath it, and that kick is gonna take up the low space. I think I'm gonna make this one move a little bit as well, just with some LFO on the pitch, on the fine tune over here. And as you can probably already hear from that little snippet that you've heard, it's just gonna sound huge already, and it's only 2 layers. Also, when we take away this warm layer and we just we just take it away, it just sounds so thin and so tiny, and with this layer it just sounds huge already, and that's what we want. We want to create that big feeling as quick as possible. Now this already sounds pretty thick together, really thick. That's something we can maybe try to do. Just maybe add a little bit more high end on here. Yeah, that sounds balanced. And after that, what we're gonna do right now is create the space for the entire lead. Sick. Now, I tend to use already pre-made mixer channel for my reverb, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to show you how I make my reverb channel. I'm just going to put a low cut on here because it's just reverb, and if you want lows in the reverb, you're just going to put that in a sample, otherwise it's going to fuck up the entire mixdown of your track. So we put a low cut over there, and then we're going to put a reverb plugin on here. I like using Valhalla Room, but it doesn't really matter what you use. Maybe use some other good plugins, and just make sure that the reverb can actually be huge. My settings are like this. It's 7 seconds of decay. That's quite big, and that's something that we want for hardstyle. But even then, if you have 7 seconds on there, this sounds good, but it's already fading out right now, and that's something that this is already sounding good, but it's already fading out so quickly. And when it's fading out so quickly, you just want, yeah, I don't like that, so I'm just putting a compressor on here. I like using Pro C and putting this up like a little bit, the output level, and put the threshold down all the way, so it kicks up as much as possible with these settings. And then it's gonna stay for so much longer. And that just really works for me. Now that we put up our reverb on here, we're just going to make this reverb sidechain a little bit to the leads. And after that, we're maybe going to use some more reverb to make it even sound bigger. I like using a limiter on here, and I'm just using the compression side. So we're getting a signal in here by sidechaining the top lead in here. I like using the top lead because the top lead is just stable for output, and so it will be a stable kind of sidechain to this track. And over here we're gonna pick that one up, and then we're gonna make it sidechain. Don't be scared to really sidechain it. With this sidechain, it takes away most of the reverb, but it kicks up in the empty spaces. And that's why I use another reverb layer again to create a bigger space. One is going to be here to kick up and fill the immediate space that's in between the notes. And the other one is just going to be there to swell in the background and yeah, just sound even more huge, and that's going to help a lot. Now this sounds good, but I still feel it isn't big enough. And what we're gonna do right now is we're just gonna put some reverb directly on the buses, or maybe one of the buses for the sounds that we've made. I think that's chords. We're gonna put some huge reverb on, but because we want it to be sounding still have some of the wet sound and have some of the dry sound, we're just gonna put the mix down a little bit, and this will do. I think I'm just gonna keep it at a moderate decay, and the pre-delay is just gonna put a little bit more spread on when the reverb actually kicks in. Now I'm already really loving this result, and I'm really starting to like the melody even more. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm just gonna add a little bit of delay on here. I like to use replica to create that delay, and with this delay it's just gonna, in my head at least, it's just gonna finish the entire result. Just gonna put the delay on the top leads. We're just gonna route the top leads on there, and I like to keep the let me see if I'm using the right one. Yes, I did. I like to only put delay on the top lead because the top lead will still sound clean when you put a delay on there. And if you put the chords in a delay, it might sound a little bit too muddy. And that is actually how I made the big sounds for my tracks. And we're gonna be seeing more of this melody. I'll make sure that you'll see more of this melody. So I hope you learned something from it. Please leave a like and subscribe. Don't miss out on any of the new content. There's lots of more stuff coming. And I hope you had a good time and I hope that you learned something. So thanks for watching. Cheers.